back again. About to react to the Flash, a hot mess. Critical drinker. Let's get right into it.
Truly is a cruel mistress, dear viewer. No matter how much knowledge you have of what's coming, no matter how hard you try to
Crazy part, I literally just finished watching this joint. Don't ask me how, but I just finished watching it.
warn people or change the course of events, certain things are simply...
It was like, CGI was bad. CGI was not good. I didn't really like it. There was too much Flash going on. I know it's a Flash movie, but it was too much Flash. I don't know how to explain it. It was just too much Flash going on in this Flash movie. It was annoying. It's too much playing around. Two kitties. Like, god damn, bro.
Inevitable. Like The Flash being a steaming pile of garbage that nobody wants to watch.
This shit was
I mean, to be
not it.
fair, you didn't exactly have to be Mystic Meg to make that particular
I kinda figured
prediction.
it wasn't gonna be
was a
all
film
that,
that
but-
had almost everything going against it. A lame duck movie from a dead cinematic universe at a time when the superhero genre is in decline anyway, relying on the played out trope of the multiverse to shoehorn in a bunch of
And then
meaningless...
this multiverse shit, like, god damn it, bro. I mean, I don't mind, but they just didn't do it well. They did a horrible job at it. They was trying to do a Spider-Man thing, but it's like...
cameos that do nothing but remind us of better days long
Yeah, that's
gone,
all it was,
and
the
based around
cameos.
an unpopular character played by an actor with personal issues.
Hi, this is Ezra Miller, the Mad Goose Wizard.
What the fuck is that?
Nice one, Ezra. Never change. It all added up to a
Never
film
change.
with all the prospects of Peter Dinklage in the NBA, but here we are, 6 directors, $250 million.
And Supergirl wasn't in it too much, so she wasn't too bad. I didn't have a problem with her. She was cool.
And God knows how many
Uh-huh,
rewrites
everybody
and
was good
reshoots
except for
later.
Flash.
But
Keep it
damn,
real,
man,
which is
even I
sad,
didn't
'cause it's
expect it
Flash
to be this
movie.
much of an overblown, chaotic, unfocused, visually disgusting mess. The Flash is basically 2 hours of creative diarrhea, a messy combination of good ideas, baffling cameos, and deep references that casual fans won't even get.
Mm-hmm. It could have been better,
and
but
absolute dogshit
the
CGI
story,
splattered all across the screen.
Oh my god, the
Anyway,
Flash suit. I don't like the Flash suit. The shit was just literally, the whole suit was just CGI.
grab your spandex running suit and let's do our best to make sense of this. So the movie opens with nobody's
Had some
favourite
good action
superhero,
set pieces,
Barry
those was
Allen,
good.
who's on his way to court for his father's final appeal against his life sentence for the murder of his wife. Unfortunately, Barry gets held up by an emergency where he has to save a bunch of fallen babies by throwing them into microwaves. And if that sounds like I've been on the toilet duck again, then yes, I have. But it's also a thing that actually happens in this movie, and yes, it is as dumb as it sounds. It's also a convenient excuse to shoehorn in a couple of cameos from Batman and Wonder Woman, and don't worry, if you like meaningless cameos that go nowhere, there's going to be plenty more on the way. Believe that. Anyway,
Believe
Barry
that.
goes back to his childhood home to reminisce and then gets sad and ends up running so fast that he travels back in time. I mean, we've all done it, right? And this gives Barry a bit of an idea. What if he went back in time to the day of his mother's murder and changed things so that she never got killed? Bruce doesn't think this is a very good idea to go messing with the timeline because of every single time travel movie ever, but Barry's like, nah, it'll be fine.
It'll be
So back
fine.
he goes and saves his mum. Job done, mission complete. Except
And that's another thing too I didn't like about this Flashpoint movie. The actual Flashpoint, like, a lot of people probably haven't seen it, but go watch the Flashpoint movie, the animated movie. It came out a few years ago. That shit is bomb. That shit is good. That's a good ass movie. They should have made it something similar to that. When Flash went back in the past in that one, everything was messed up, but Bruce Wayne wasn't Bruce Wayne. His fault was the Batman. Aquaman and Wonder Woman was like on the verge of destroying the Earth. They was warring with each other. That shit was good. I think I might actually watch that now. I'm not gonna lie, because that was a good Flashpoint movie. That movie was good.
Except it isn't, because now he finds himself in 2013, right before the events of Man of Steel, where he runs into a younger version himself that doesn't have his powers yet.
Oh my God,
And this is
2
where you need to
Flashes.
strap
Oh
yourself
my
in, dear
God.
viewer, because if you thought that one Ezra Miller on screen was more
Jesus
abrasive than
Christ.
Aquafina trying to rap,
Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, whap, chicka, whap, whap, chicka, whap.
well, Well, all I can say is that the rest of the movie's gonna be a bit of a slog for you. Anyway, they're interrupted by the arrival of General Zod, who's on Earth looking for Superman. So the two Barrys decide they have to bring together the Justice League to fight him. The only problem is that they don't actually exist here. Cyborg is still just a college football player, Aquaman was apparently never born, and Wonder Woman is, on vacation or something? I don't fucking know because the script doesn't seem to know either.
What happened to
the only
Wonder Woman? I
option
was
left is
wondering now.
Bruce. So they go to Wayne Manor to find him, except he's not the Bruce Wayne that they remember. And take note of this segment because it's one of the few parts of the movie that's actually pretty good. Anyway, so
Yeah,
this is the Bruce
Batman
Wayne
scene
from
was
Batman
good.
1989, who's since retired after basically solving all the crime in Gotham City. Nice one, Bruce. Anyway, the Barrys are able to persuade him to come out of retirement on the grounds that the entire world is about to end. And together they journey to Siberia, where they recover Superman from the sealed prison that he's being held in. Except it's not Superman, it's Supergirl in this reality. Why? Don't know. So they take Supergirl out to the
I was
desert where
wondering that too. I
General...
was like, why is it not just Superman? Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Even in the movie, the Flashpoint movie, it was Superman. It was kind of similar to the same thing. They had him. He didn't crash in Metropolis. He crashed in like... he crashed in America somewhere, but he didn't crash in this small town and got discovered by Martha and Kent. The government ended up finding him, and they just had him locked up deep on the ground where he couldn't get no sunlight from birth, so he was just really weak and feeble, similar to her. And then they saved him, and then eventually, you know, but that's how
General
that went.
Zod's been fighting the world's military for what seems like weeks now. Doesn't seem like a very efficient use of your time, Zod, but whatever. But oh no, she gets
you would
killed by
think.
him, and so does Bruce. So the Barrys travel back to try and fix it, but no matter what they do, General Zod just keeps on winning. And then the younger Barry starts to go a bit nuts from all the time travel and turns into an evil old version of Flash before ultimately sacrificing himself to wipe out his own timeline. And other Barry finally comes to the realization that the only way to put things right is to undo his choice to save his mum from the start of the movie. So he does, and everything goes back to normal, more or less, and his dad wins the court
I think I
case
might
and they all
watch
live
a
happily
Flashpoint
ever
movie
after.
now.
Except for the
This
horrifying
one was not
realization
it.
that George Clooney is now Bruce Wayne again.
Never leave the cave without it.
You know, I've used the term Frankenstein's monster quite a bit.
I'm not gonna find the Batman scenes in the movie was good. All of the Batman scenes was good. Not gonna lie, the action scenes was pretty good. CGI pretty much dog shit throughout, but other than that, it was alright.
To describe movies over the past few years, but honestly, it's tough to think of a more accurate metaphor for what The Flash is. It seems to have been assembled from the chunks of like a dozen other aborted scripts and half-baked ideas, awkwardly stitched together
just
into
put it
something
all
that
together.
vaguely resembles a story, and jolted into life in the hopes that it'll shamble around long enough to make back its massive budget. And if the opening box office is anything to go by, well, it won't. The first half is probably the more focused
Yeah, I
and
don't think it's a
coherent,
movie
but
I would,
ironically it's the
wanna
least
go see in
enjoyable,
theaters.
mainly because
I
it's
could
centered
watch it,
entirely
like, I could
around
watch it
Barry.
alone,
Both
but
of
I can't-
him.
I don't see
And that's a
anything to go
problem
see
because
this
the
shit
worst
is not
aspect of the Flash movie is the Flash himself. Specifically, Ezra Miller's take on the Flash. Basically,
And that's never good. The movie is a Flash movie, and it's too much Flash in the movie. Where it's like it's kind of annoying.
he's just as hyperactive, verbose, and gratingly
Yeah,
irritating
right.
as he was in Justice League. Always trying too hard to be funny, trying too hard to be
Yeah, he's not
likable,
funny.
trying too hard to act, and having two of him play off each other just multiplies the problem exponentially.
Even worse.
You can tell there's been a real concerted effort to rehabilitate Miller's public image in the weeks leading up to this film, with so many drooling articles all saying basically the same thing that you'd swear they'd been given talking points specifically by the studio. Ezra Miller has never gone Ezra Miller the way they do in The Flash. With sculpted dark eyebrows and insinuating lips, the actor is a mesmerizing camera subject.
They just putting a bunch of words together to formulate a sentence, but it's not. It doesn't mean anything. What are you
Like the
talking
young
about?
Jimmy Fallon crossed with the young Bob Dylan. Jesus Christ, calm down a bit, mate. This is the journalistic equivalent of blowing him right in front of the entire world. But none of that can change what's actually up there on screen, and if your main character is the least likable part of your movie,
That's
well,
never
you know
good.
you've got problems. As far as the other characters go, I can't say a whole lot about Supergirl because she's less of a character than a
Yeah.
key item that has to be recovered to move the plot forwards. You never get a whole lot of insight into who she is because she arrives late to the party and doesn't get enough time to make an impression. And it's kind of a a shame because the actress does a decent job and I wouldn't have minded seeing more of her, but she gets kind of lost in the chaotic, overstuffed mess that is the film's second hour. General Zod is a fucking weird choice of antagonist for a Flash movie, a character from a movie 10 years ago that has absolutely zero history or connection to Barry.
I was wondering, why did they go with General Zod as the bad guy in this movie? That's kind of weird. There's so many other Flash villains, and once again, the villain in the Flashpoint movie was Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash.
Barry, it'd be like bringing back the Red Skull and having him fight Doctor Strange. I mean, in the hands of smarter writers, this probably could have been a chance to see a different side of him, explore aspects of his personality that we never got to see in Man of Steel, but instead he's basically just a cardboard cutout, saying and doing the same shit he did before, with no emotional impact because he doesn't even know or care who Barry is. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that we're fucking done with multiverses. It was an intriguing little idea like 4 or 5 years ago, but as we've learned from every other superhero movie that's been made on the subject, it's really just become an excuse to bring back old actors and dead characters and throw them into new situations because funny. But let's be real here, the only reason that anyone was even interested in this film was to see Michael Keaton in the Batsuit again. Yeah. And for me, this was both the best and most disappointing aspect of the movie. On the plus side, Keaton's barely missed a beat in 30 years and slipped right back into the role like he's been doing it his whole life. Modern VFX and stunt work allows him to move and fight in ways that he never could have back in the Tim Burton days. And seeing the Batmobile...
He's a way better fighter now. His action scenes in this movie is way better than it was in the 89 joint. And he's fucking 40 years older than he was back then because of the technology now.
Oh, and Wayne Manor, faithfully recreated, definitely gets the nostalgia going. The problem is, beyond recycling a few well-known lines, the movie doesn't seem to know what to actually do with him. His character's got no real arc or journey to go on, he doesn't learn or change in any way, and he's not around long enough to really connect with Barry as the paternal figure that I think they were going for. Also, this movie basically proves my point that Batman is not compatible with big Marvel-style battles against alien armies and giant sky beams.
It's just weird. And having Batman, he's a human being at the end of the day. There's only so much he can do. He cannot be fighting Superman level characters. He's not gonna. Even that little scene where he had with the dude is just like, it's not believable. Like, all he gotta do is literally grab Batman with one hand and he just crushes him. It's like, you fighting like Superman level characters. Like, Batman does not fit in here. It looks weird because he really can't do much. What is he gonna do? Unless he has kryptonite in his back pocket, he's just gonna get slapped around. He's
a crime fighter that's supposed to be leaping across rooftops and stalking the dark alleyways of Gotham, not taking on giant CGI monsters in the middle of the desert in broad daylight. It's such a cheap, shitty misuse of such an awesome character, and it pretty much exemplifies DC's biggest problem of pissing away every advantage in a desperate attempt to copy Marvel. People watch your movies precisely because you're not Marvel. Why don't you fucking see that? Oh yeah, and needless to say, the visuals look like absolute donkey shit, which is par for the course with movies these days. Probably because this film was getting rewritten and reshot right up until the final whistle, and the VFX artists had no idea what they were even supposed to be rendering. There's some obnoxiously bad green screen that genuinely looks like it came from a Disney Plus show, and action set pieces that would have been cutting edge in the early 2000s but look weak as fuck today. Seriously, go back and rewatch the first Iron Man, a movie made 15 years ago with half the budget, and it'll look infinitely better than this. All of these problems smack of a script that's trying to do way too much, cramming too many ideas and characters, too much action, too much visual spectacle, and ends up tripping over its own feet in the process. A film so desperate to impress, saddled
and
with
that's
so
the thing, the stories have already been written, especially most of these stories. Like, exactly this story too has been written. They gave you the perfect template already for the story, and the Flashpoint movie, they did the movie in anime. Just do that and make it live action. Literally, the shit would have been perfect. That storyline was way better. Flash go back, save his mom, same thing. The Reverse Flash was there fucking around with the timeline type shit. He goes back, he realized Batman ain't Batman. The Batman that he know he got killed in the alley, and his father's Bruce, whatever Bruce Wayne Pop's name was, he's Batman now, and he uses guns, he don't play that shit, he'll shoot a motherfucker in the face. He's not like Batman, I don't kill. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, they pretty much warned they about to destroy the earth because Wonder Woman and Aquaman had an affair, and then Tina, one Aquaman girl tried to kill Wonder Woman. She ended up Wonder Woman bodied her easy, of course, and then so they went to war. So the world is on the brink of destruction, and Flash got to try and stop this shit. He still doesn't have his power, and he ended up working with Batman to get his power back, similar to this, but they just fucked it up with Supergirl and then Zod. It was no Zod. Why are they fighting Zod? It was no Zod. It was Aquaman and Wonder Woman. They was the ones he had to try and stop them from killing each other. That would have been the perfect storyline if they did that one like they did in the anime. All you gotta do is watch the movie, tweak a couple things to make it work for live action, but that was a perfect storyline. We already got Aquaman, we already got Wonder Woman, we know what they look like. Just bring them in this movie as the villains now, because it's a different timeline now. And people would have been like, yo, this is the shit. But of course they fuck it up doing
So
whatever
many
they doing.
expectations and so much studio interference that it's lost sight of what it's even trying to be or do. And all it actually ended up being was the very mess that we all predicted. Fate, like I said, is a cruel mistress.
I knew it wasn't.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah, I didn't expect
Fate,
much from it.
true.
I didn't expect much from it, to be honest. All these reshoots, this, that, and the third. Ezra Miller, I'm not really a big fan of him anyway, so I was just like, I know this is not going to be good. And judging by the track record of all the other movies previously, it's just been dog shit, so I didn't really expect much from them. But that's the end of the video. Like and subscribe. I'll be back to y'all with another one. Let's go.